I stood in my mother-in-law Patricia's immaculate kitchen, watching her expertly arrange deviled eggs on her prized crystal platter. The same platter she'd been using for family gatherings since before I married her son David 12 years ago. The same platter I wasn't allowed to touch. "Emma dear," she called out without looking up, her voice syrupy sweet but with an edge that could cut glass. "Why don't you go set the table? The adults have everything under control in here." The adults? As if I, at 34 years old, was somehow still a child. I caught my sister-in-law Amanda smirking as she stirred the gravy, sharing a knowing look with Patricia. They were quite the pair, mother and daughter, united in their mission to remind me that I'd never truly be part of their prestigious family. "Of course, Patricia," I replied, keeping my voice steady. I learned long ago that showing any sign of hurt only gave them more ammunition. As I gathered the plates, I heard Amanda's stage whisper, "Remember that casserole she brought last Easter?" I thought Dad was going to choke. "Thank goodness I had a backup ham ready," Patricia responded, loud enough to ensure I wouldn't miss a word. You never know what creative dishes some people might try to introduce to a family dinner. I gripped the plates tighter, willing myself not to react. If only they knew. If only they had any idea who I really was, what I was capable of in the kitchen. But David and I had agreed it was better this way. Better to let them think what they wanted. My 8-year-old son Lucas bounded into the kitchen, his dark curls bouncing. "Mom, can I help?" His eyes sparkled with the same mischief I'd fallen in love with in his father's eyes all those years ago. "Not now, sweetheart," Patricia intercepted quickly. "Grammy's kitchen is no place for children. Why don't we go watch TV with your cousins?" Lucas's face fell slightly, but he caught my eye. I gave him our secret wink, and his smile returned. He knew, even at his young age, how to play along. The afternoon progressed like every other family gathering at Patricia's house. The women, except me, cooked and chatted in the kitchen while the men watched football in the living room. My father-in-law George occasionally bellowed out comments about the game, which Patricia dutifully acknowledged with enthusiastic responses, despite having no interest in sports. I kept myself busy arranging the table, making sure each setting was perfect. Patricia would inspect it later, subtly adjusting things while making disappointed clicking sounds with her tongue. It was our usual dance. "Emma," David appeared beside me, speaking low. "You okay?" His hand found the small of my back, a gentle reminder that I wasn't alone in this. "I'm fine," I assured him, leaning into his touch slightly. "Just the usual." He glanced toward the kitchen where his mother was loudly praising Amanda's gravy-making skills. "We could tell them, end this whole charade." I shook my head. "Not yet. The timing has to be right." David sighed but nodded. He understood. We'd built this plan carefully, and patience was key, even if it meant enduring more of Patricia's subtle, and not so subtle, jabs. "Dinner's ready." Patricia's voice rang out with the authority of a general commanding her troops. "Everyone find your seats." The family filed in, David's brothers and their wives, Amanda and her husband, the various cousins and their spouses. A small army of children rushed to the kids' table in the corner, Lucas among them. He caught my eye again and grinned. That boy was definitely up to something. Patricia presided over the table like a queen, serving each dish with a commentary about its preparation. Now, the secret to these rolls is that they're made completely from scratch. No store-bought dough in this house. Her eyes flicked to me meaningfully. Last Thanksgiving, I brought dinner rolls from the local bakery and she'd never let me forget it. "Mom's always been the best cook in the family," Amanda added, shooting me a smug look. "No one can compete with her traditional recipes." I took a sip of water, hiding my smile. If they only knew how many Michelin-starred restaurants had tried to compete for those very recipes. "Speaking of cooking," Patricia began, and I tensed, recognizing her story-time voice. "Did I ever tell you about the first time Emma tried to help in the kitchen?" She didn't wait for an answer. It was right after she and David got married. She actually thought she could improve my grandmother's green bean casserole recipe. She laughed, a sound like tinkling crystal. Imagine trying to improve a family recipe that's been passed down for generations. The table responded with appropriate chuckles. I felt David's hand squeeze my knee under the table. Now, Mother," he started, but Patricia wasn't finished. Of course I had to step in before she could ruin the dish completely. Since then, Well, she spread her hands magnanimously. We've all found it's better if Emma stays out of the kitchen during family gatherings. Some people just aren't meant to cook. That's when Lucas's voice piped up from the kids' table, clear as a bell. But Mom's food is on TV. The dining room fell silent. Every head turned toward my son, then to me. Patricia's fork clattered against her plate. Lucas, honey, had began, but he was already pulling out his tablet, the one I thought I'd told him to leave in the car. Look, he said proudly, turning the screen so everyone could see. This is Mom's restaurant, and that's her on chef's table. The tablet screen showed me in my chef's whites, plating a delicate souffle while camera crews captured every movement. The Netflix logo glowed in the corner of the frame. Patricia's face turned an interesting shade of pink as she squinted at the screen, then back at me. "What is this?" she demanded, her voice higher than usual. "Some kind of cooking show competition?" Amanda snatched the tablet from Lucas, swiping through the episodes with trembling fingers. Her eyes widened as she read aloud. Chef Emma Chen Walker, owner of Maison San Francisco's latest 3 Michelin-starred sensation. 3 Michelin stars? George's booming voice cut through the tension. Isn't that the highest rating they give? David cleared his throat. Yes, Dad. Emma's restaurant earned them last year. She's actually the youngest female chef on the West Coast to receive that honor. The silence that followed was deafening. I could practically hear the gears turning in Patricia's head as she processed this information, rewriting 12 years of assumptions in real time. But you always let me, she stammered, looking at the untouched green bean casserole on her plate. You never said anything when I criticized your cooking. It didn't seem important, I said softly, though we both knew that wasn't entirely true. Your family traditions mean a lot to you, and I didn't want to overshadow that. Lucas, bless his heart, wasn't done. Show them your cookbook, Mom, the one with your picture on it. Amanda was already typing on her phone, her face drained of color as she found what she was looking for. Modern Comfort, Reimagining Family Recipes by Emma Chen Walker. Currently in its 8th printing, named one of the most influential cookbooks of the decade. She looked up at me, her superior smile completely gone. This is real. Very real, David said, a note of pride in his voice. Emma's been running successful restaurants for 15 years. She had her first Michelin star before we even met. Patricia sat very still, her hands folded tightly in her lap. I could see her mentally revisiting every snide comment, every dismissive gesture, every time she'd saved a family meal from my supposed culinary incompetence. Why did you tell us? She whispered. I took a deep breath. This was the moment I'd both dreaded and longed for. I tried in the beginning, but you were so proud of your family recipes, so certain about the right way to do things. After that first green bean casserole incident, David and I decided it would be easier to just let it be. You mean let her believe she was better than you? Amanda cut in, finding her voice again. You've been laughing at us this whole time, haven't you? No, I said firmly, meeting her eyes. I've been respecting your mother's kitchen, her traditions, her role in this family. My success doesn't diminish her skills or the love she puts into these meals. Patricia stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the hardwood floor. Without a word, she walked into the kitchen. We could hear cabinets opening and closing, dishes clinking. Should I? David started to rise, but I placed a hand on his arm. Let me. I found Patricia in the kitchen, aggressively washing dishes that didn't need washing. Her shoulders were tight, her movements sharp and angry. Patricia, I said quietly. 12 years, she said without turning around. 12 years of me treating you like you couldn't boil water. You must think I'm a complete fool. No, I moved closer, picking up a dish towel. I think you're a woman who loves her family and takes pride in caring for them through food, just like me. She finally turned to face me, her eyes shining with unshed tears. But you're so much better at it. All those fancy restaurants, awards, television shows. Different doesn't mean better, I said, drawing the plate she handed me. You know what Lucas asked for last week when he was feeling sick? Your chicken noodle soup. Not my French consommé or Japanese ramen, your soup, made exactly the way you make it. Patricia's hands stilled in the soapy water. Really? Really? He says it tastes like love. A tear slipped down her cheek. I've been horrible to you. You've been protective of your family's traditions, I corrected gently, and maybe a little afraid of change. I understand that, But maybe there's room for both of our styles in this family? The next family dinner was different. 2 weeks had passed since Lucas's revelation, and this time Patricia had called me personally to extend the invitation. Her voice had been hesitant, almost shy, as she asked, Would you like to cook together this time? That's how I found myself in her kitchen on a Sunday morning, our two cooking styles meeting for the first time. Patricia watched in fascination as I demonstrated how to make a silky béarnaise sauce for the roast. The key is to whisk constantly, I explained, showing her the technique. See how it's thickening. It's like magic, she murmured, leaning in closer. Would this work with the ham glaze I usually make? Absolutely. Want me to show you? Amanda arrived early, hovering uncertainly in the kitchen doorway. The smug superiority was gone from her face, replaced by something that looked almost like embarrassment. She watched us work together, her mother and me, until Patricia finally said, Amanda, come learn how to make this sauce. Emma's technique is remarkable. Slowly, tentatively, Amanda joined us at the stove. And just like that, the kitchen had room for three. Lucas burst in later, waving a fresh batch of printouts. Mom? Grammy, can we make these next time? He spread the papers on the counter, recipes from my restaurant, printed in his childish enthusiasm. Patricia picked one up, studying it. Herb-crusted rack of lamb with mint gastrique, she read slowly. I've never made anything like this. We could make it together, I offered. And maybe you could show me how to make your famous dinner rolls. Lucas says they're better than the ones at my restaurant. Patricia's eyes lit up. They were my grandmother's recipe. She taught me when I was just a girl. She paused, then added softly, I'd love to teach you. The family filed in for dinner, doing double takes at the sight of the three of us working side by side in a kitchen. David caught my eye and smiled, giving me a subtle thumbs up. Everything looks amazing, George declared as we set out the dishes, a perfect blend of Patricia's traditional favorites and my modern interpretations. My béarnaise sauce sat in her grandmother's gravy boat, a symbol of old and new coming together. Try the rolls, Patricia announced proudly. Emma made them this time, with a few little tweaks to my family recipe. They're even better than the original. Amanda served the sauce, explaining the technique to anyone who would listen as if she'd been making it all her life. The pride in her voice was genuine, the competitiveness replaced by enthusiasm for learning something new. As everyone ate and praised the food, Patricia leaned over to me. I've been thinking, she said quietly. Would you teach me more? Maybe we could cook together sometimes, not just for family dinners. I'd love that, I replied, watching Lucas demonstrate to his cousins the proper way to whisk, just as I'd shown him in our home kitchen. Actually, I have an idea. The restaurant's closed on Mondays. Why don't you come by? I could show you around. Maybe we could cook lunch together. In your professional kitchen, Patricia's eyes widened. Oh, I couldn't possibly. I wouldn't know what to do in a place like that. You raised 3 children and kept this family fed for 40 years, I reminded her. You know more than you think. Besides, I smiled, every chef needs a solid foundation in traditional cooking. Your recipes, your techniques, they're valuable. Different from what I do, but just as important. Tears welled in her eyes. I was so wrong about you, Emma. All these years, I thought you were trying to change our family traditions. But you were protecting them, weren't you? While building something new alongside them. That's what family does, I said, squeezing her hand. We grow together, learn from each other. Speaking of which, I nodded toward Lucas, who was now teaching his grandmother's signature gravy technique to his younger cousins. I think we might have another chef in the family. Patricia laughed, a real laugh this time, not the crystalline fake one she used to use around me. As long as he learns from both of us. Both of us, I agreed. Later that evening, as David and I were getting ready to leave, Patricia pulled me into a tight hug. Thank you, she whispered, for not giving up on us. I hugged her back, breathing in the familiar scent of her perfume, mixed with the lingering aromas of our shared kitchen. That's what family does. In the car, Lucas fell asleep almost immediately, clutching his precious printouts of recipes. David took my hand as he drove, rubbing his thumb across my knuckles. Happy? He asked. I looked back at the house, where Patricia stood in the doorway, waving. The porch light illuminated her face, and I could see her smiling. A real, warm smile that reached her eyes. Yeah, I said. I think we all are.